everyone, welcome back to another video, or if you're new here, welcome. My name's Kaya and today I am in quarantine in Milan, as you guys can probably tell, especially by my previous videos as well. I've been vlogging a little bit since I've been in quarantine, just showing you guys like what I've been up to and things like that. It hasn't been very much. You would have been able to see that from my videos. I haven't been up to very much, but I've been trying to stay like productive and just doing things like that, just to help me feel a little bit better, a little bit more motivated, and like my day has purpose. But since I can't go out in the city and Milan has just imposed another lockdown, I thought what not better time to jump on here and just make a few videos while I have all the time in the world. So basically the video that I'm going to be making today is going to be something that's quite relevant to my life right now, and something that I think would help you guys if you're wanting to move to Milan in the future. Just little things that you need to know: the cost of moving to Italy in terms of initial costs, like setting up your life, and then kind of ongoing costs if you're going to be here for a longer period of time. So I've split them up into two different categories, and I think that way it'll be the most useful to you guys, depending on like what kind of visa you're wanting to get, if you're a dual citizen, if you're just coming here for like a few months or something like that. So hopefully this video can help you. And I've got my laptop with some notes down here, so if I'm looking down here, you know why. So the first thing that I would say is obviously your airfare to Italy, and depending on which kind of visa you're going for, you may need to get a return air flight. And even if you don't know the exact date that you're coming back, just having that return flight and then just paying for like a change fee to like change the day of the flight can be really helpful, just to like make sure that you secure a flight. So if you do have to go back to your home country for any kind of emergency situation or anything like that, you know that you've got that return airfare in place. I know with the current circumstances in the world, it is a little bit difficult. I know there's flight caps. I don't know if you guys are from Australia. It's very relative, but there's flight caps going back into Australia, so it can be difficult. A lot of flights have been cancelled lately, so depending on your situation, it can be a little bit difficult, especially what's going on in the world right now. As we all know, it's very difficult to get any flights anywhere right now. So, but yeah, the initial cost of the airfare, I would say set aside about 2,000 to 2,500 Australian dollars. So I think that works out to be, if you're wanting to know in euros, I'm gonna work it out for you guys now. 2,500, I think it would be like 1,800 euros or something. 2,500 Australian dollars is about 1,500 euros, so 1,533 euros. So just as like a buffer to put aside for your flight, you know that roughly you need about that much. And a lot of the time, which I'm going to be going into next, is your visa, which usually, for depending on which kind of visa you're getting, I know student visas are a little bit, I think they're a little bit more expensive than working holiday visas. I could be wrong, but I think for my working holiday visa, which I'm on right now, I think it was around about $195, so around 200 Australian dollars. It was about 122 euros roughly, so it's not cheap. It's not cheap, the process, but that's the kind of money you can expect to put aside for your visa. And then obviously there's travel insurance, so depending on how long you're staying in Italy for, I'm staying for a year, well initially a year, depending on kind of my circumstances and how things unfold this year and things like that, whether I get a job and extend my permesso di soggiorno or not. I'm not really sure yet, but at the moment I've got travel insurance for 1 year. So I chose Covermore, and during this time it was quite difficult, I found, to actually get an insurance company to cover you while you're traveling, because a lot of insurance companies have kind of shut down their services temporarily during the pandemic. So Covermore travel insurance was the one I went with, and I think I put aside around like 1,300 to 1,500 Australian dollars. for that. So that covered me for the entire year and a little bit more, just to give me kind of a little buffer period. And I can extend that at any time if I need to, or if I don't use it and I end up coming back home early, and I don't use up that portion of the insurance that I purchased in advance, then they will refund that amount for you. So Covermore is really good. They have really flexible kind of plans, especially at the moment. With everything going on, they've been really accommodating. Also for the flight, one thing that I failed to mention before was the airline that I chose. So I chose Qatar Airways, which is one of the only airlines currently operating from Australia to Europe. So a lot of people who have been traveling during the pandemic have been flying with Qatar. So yeah, they're the airline that I went with, and I know a lot of other people who have been traveling during this time have gone with them as well. So I think they had the least amount of cancellations, because I guess exiting Australia wasn't really the problem. It was more so getting back into Australia due to the flight cap. So a lot of places in Europe have been accepting Australians since July of this year, but it's just getting back into Australia that proves to be the most difficult part at the moment. So the next thing that I'm going to go into is the permesso di soggiorno. So this is another initial payment that's kind of secondary to your visa. So depending on what visa you have, you might have the student visa or the working visa or the working holiday visa. No matter what visa you have, you always have to apply for the permesso di soggiorno, which is the residency permit, the permit of stay for Italy. And this is just basically, it has like it's like a card that they give you. It takes so long to get. You go in the first 8 days to apply for it. And then it might be like a few months later that you actually get the physical card. But in the meantime, usually just carry around the receipt for your permesso di soggiorno to show police officers if you ever get stopped, or if you're like crossing the border, leaving the Schengen zone and coming back in. They often ask for it when you come back into Italy through the airport. So I think there were 2 payments from memory. I obviously I haven't been out this time to apply for it yet because I'm not allowed outside. But when I finally am allowed outside and I can actually apply for it again, I will be able to fill you guys in. I'm so sorry. I can't remember the exact the price, but I think from memory last time I remember paying about 100 euros in total. So you have to pay for a marca de bollo, which is like a postage stamp. You have to pay for the permesso di soggiorno and then like a postage fee. So I think it added up to be around 100 euros from memory from last time. I think it varies depending on what you're staying here for and what kind of visa you need. So there's that. Another thing that I would recommend you guys to do is to get, if you're coming by yourself and you've got like massive suitcases, is to book like a taxi or an airport transfer in advance. So in Milan specifically, I know they have like capped prices for taxis, but I booked like a private airport transfer. So one of those ones that's just like waiting for you. And I used a company called Connecto Transfers. And the reason I went with that company was because they had a lot of good reviews on TripAdvisor, and they just seemed like the most trustworthy company to go with at the time. So I think from memory, in the first time I came here, I booked with them previously, but I'm not 100% sure, but it was a really smooth process. I'd really recommend that company. It cost about 70 euros, which roughly adds up to about $140, which isn't cheap. It is about a 40-minute drive from Malpensa to like the Milan city center. So yeah, I mean, it definitely saves a lot of hassle, like not having to carry your bag on public transport and everything. I had to get a private transfer because of the pandemic, and it was just a requirement that I wasn't allowed to get public transport when I arrived here in Italy. So that's what I went with. The next thing that I would recommend is for you guys to get, if you don't have a place to live, like a long-term place to live, I would recommend getting an Airbnb for 1 month. Say if you're staying for like 1 year or 6 months or something, just to give you some buffer time to find a more permanent place to live, find a more permanent apartment, because it can take quite a long time. And I don't think, in my opinion, you don't want to book something for a long time without first seeing it in person, without discussing the contract with the landlord, because there can be a lot of fine print that you really need to pay attention to. And there will be things that you might want to talk about or negotiate with the landlord as well. So before you, I guess, sign anything or pay for anything up front, like your bond and things like that, which is the next cost, which depends on your cost of rent. But before you pay anything, I would really recommend just book an Airbnb, whether that's for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month or something like that, just to give you a bit of buffer time. Yes, it is more expensive than a long-term rental, but you'll probably save money in the long run. I'm not saying all Italians are dodgy, but a lot of landlords may take advantage of the fact that you're a foreigner. Even some Italians get ripped off sometimes, so you really just need to be careful, have your wits about you, and don't pay for anything up front without first seeing it in person, without testing things, because things break, things go wrong, and you really want to have that peace of mind before you dive into like a long-term rental contract, because they can be very difficult, if not impossible, to break without spending exorbitant amounts of money. So definitely look into that before committing to anything long-term. Now for ongoing costs. Now I'm going to make a whole video about rental prices in different neighborhoods in Milan, but as a general price point, I would recommend at least to have 500 to 1,000 euros per month put aside for rent. So depending on what kind of place you want to live in, honestly, I mean, if you're a student, you're going to want to save as much money as you can, because a lot of the time, you know, students don't have a lot of money. So you can expect to pay like around 500 to 800 euros per month for a room. Again, depending on what area in Milan you want to live. If you want to live by yourself, I did live in a studio apartment by myself last year, which I kind of regret. Like, it was an amazing place, but I could have saved so much money. I paid 1,000 euros per month for my apartment, my studio apartment right in the center of Milan, which was so amazing for convenience, and I never had to worry about like getting home late at night, because it was just super close, super central. So, I mean, even though it was really super convenient for me, I don't think I would do that again. I would not pay that much again, just because, you know, you can stay in like places so much cheaper. And I honestly, it was just something that I booked last minute, and I was kind of really desperate for a place. It ended up all going well and really smooth. My landlady was really accommodating, but in general, I'd recommend, yeah, about 500 to 1,000 euros per month put aside, that you're prepared to pay for rent each month. Then there's utility bills, which is another ongoing cost. For me, last year, everything was included in the 1,000 euro price, so everything was capped, which was really convenient. I didn't have to worry about like getting massive gas bill or something during the winter time, or anything like that. So everything was just the same price every month, which gave me a lot of peace of mind, and I really liked that about my apartment. So I'm probably not the best person to ask in terms of like what the prices of utility bills are, but what I can tell you is a lot of the time Wi-Fi and electricity are included in your rental price, but gas and water often aren't, because I guess honestly it depends. Like, obviously in the winter time you're going to be using way more gas than in the summertime, with your heater and everything, so you're going to expect to pay more for your gas bill during the colder months. But in general, I mean, 200 euros per couple of months, depending on how much you use it. But you can really save if you, again, try and negotiate a deal at the beginning with your landlord to have it included in the rental price, even if you pay, you know, 50 euros more or something per month, just to give you that peace of mind that you're not going to be receiving an unexpected bill that you're not prepared to pay for. The next thing is phone bill, and this can be really cheap. This is probably, I think Italy, someone told me this, that Italy is, has the cheapest phone bills in all of Europe or something. I'm not 100% sure if that's true, but they are pretty cheap. So you can get phone bills, phone plans, sorry, for like 8 to 10 euros per month. It's really cheap, and you get like 25 gigabytes or something of data, which is really good. I think, yeah, from memory, I paid about 10 euros per month and I got 25 gigabytes of data, unlimited calls and texts and things like that, which was really, really good for me. And I went with Vodafone. There's a couple of different companies you can use. Vodafone Wind, Tim, I think that's what it's called. But yeah, I'd recommend Vodafone, especially if you're arriving outside of the tourist season, like outside of the summer period in Europe. You can expect to get quite a good deal, quite a cheap, affordable price for your phone bill. So that's really good. And the last thing that I'm going to quickly touch on is the Metro card. So the Metro is super convenient in Milan. It honestly connects the entire city pretty much. And it's super cheap. So you can either pay for 1 year, if you're staying for a long period of time, you can pay for 1 year, I think it's 200 euros for 1 year, and it's like unlimited. It's not like Australia with your Opal card where you have to constantly top it up. It's just like you pay a capped price of 200 euros. It lasts you unlimited journeys for the entire year, and it covers metro, bus, trams, and basically any form of public transport in the city, unless you're taking a train for longer, like outside of Milan, for example, in which case you would have to purchase a separate train ticket. But the Metro card is super good, super convenient and super cheap. And you can also pay it like monthly if you want. Say for example, you're not going to be in Milan for a month or something, or you're going traveling somewhere else for a while, then you don't have to like top up your Metro card for that month. But if you do pay in a lump sum of the 200 euros, you end up saving a bunch of money. So that can be really, really good. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you took something from it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. I'm going to be creating more videos during this period as I don't really have much else to do. But it's super good. I'm really happy to be getting back into it again and filming again. I'm kind of over these depressing kind of quarantine videos. And I really just need something to like pep me up, since today is lockdown day 1 here in Milan, here in Lombardy, and yeah, I need something to like pep me up and give me a bit of energy and give me a bit of routine again, I guess. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in my next one. Bye guys.